The bust happened in 5 Louisiana cities: Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, Shreveport, Lake Charles, and Alexandria. In total, 25 pounds of fentanyl, 335 pounds of methamphetamine, and 235 pounds of cocaine were taken off the streets of Louisiana.
America, 2 illegal aliens got intercepted on a Louisiana interstate towing commercial ice cream freezers. That's the sentence. But here's what nobody's covering this story is saying out loud. Louisiana didn't just bust a drug shipment. They caught 3 levels of a cartel supply chain operating inside this country simultaneously. Import, distribution, and retail, all in one sweep. And one person is already dead.
In Breaux Bridge, our agents and the Louisiana State Police intercepted an ice cream truck. But it wasn't just carrying treats. That truck had 147 kilograms of methamphetamine hidden inside of metal boxes that were welded together.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Supply chains. That's the word that they chose to use at the podium. Not drug deals, not bust, supply chains. Because that's exactly what the CJNG built inside of America. A corporation with logistics, distribution tiers, human resources, and 2 cartel brands competing for market share on the streets of America.
Investigators uncovered 25 pounds of fentanyl, 335 pounds of meth, and 253 pounds of cocaine.
And we all, myself, probably you, probably your viewers, all have somebody in their lives whose lives have been affected, have been ended, have been ruined by these drugs, and we are sick of it.
A sitting U.S. attorney going off script. That emotion tells you how long this has been building up here. When a federal prosecutor abandons the prepared language and says that on camera, not "we remain committed to justice," not "this represents significant progress," that tells you exactly how many years of watching this it took to get to that podium. Now, here's what makes this sweep just a little bit different from other drug busts that we've reported and that you might see on the news.
To our communities across Louisiana, we want you to know that we're working night and day, weekends and holidays, together, federal and state, to remove these drugs from our streets and to put the people who are selling them behind bars.
Together, federal and state, the coordination that's been missing. Federal, state working together day and night. So what changed? We'll get into that here in a minute. But first, let me show you what 3 levels of cartel supply chain looks like when law enforcement catches them all at once. Most drug busts catch just 1 level. Louisiana caught all 3 in 30 days. And understanding the difference between them tells you everything about how deep this operation runs. The import tier is the ice cream machines, the 18-wheelers. That's the long-haul transport here. Industrial quantities moving from the border north.
Agents say the Lake Charles and Breaux Bridge cases both involve illegal alien Mexican nationals trafficking cocaine and meth. In the Breaux Bridge case, 2 Mexican nationals are accused of towing the drug-filled ice cream freezers. In Lake Charles, 2 other Mexican nationals are accused of conspiring with another person to traffic this cocaine on behalf of the CJNG cartel.
Illegal aliens specifically running that import tier. This is the border connection. The import tier runs on illegal alien recruits. If they get caught, the cartel loses a load and they lose a mule. The structure obviously survives. The next recruit crosses the border next week. That's the math on why the open border isn't just a political talking point. It's literally the cartel's human resource department for new hires, if you would. Now let's talk about the distribution tier. And this is where it gets close to home.
And the reality is that the criminal organizations, largely from Mexico, who are working in our communities, are working with criminals in our communities to peddle these poisons to our friends, to our families, and to our children.
Work with criminals in our community. Embedded domestic networks, not foreign operations here anymore. Working with, not dropping off and leaving. The CJNG identifies American distributors and builds a working relationship with them. A relationship is the Willie Baker case.
Our case against Willie Baker and 9 of his co-conspirators is a major blow to these criminal organizations. Baker was allegedly one of the main distributors of illegal drugs in North Louisiana.
Baker has prior convictions and was still operating. Baker is not a Mexican national. He is a U.S. resident, an American with prior drug trafficking convictions who allegedly became the CJNG's distribution partner for the entire region of Louisiana, running product from Houston and beyond. And his case is a link to a confirmed fentanyl overdose death. Someone's dead because that supply chain reached their neighborhood. And then there's Alexandria, the retail end. And this is where it gets quiet and ugly. Elijah Jones, Alexandria, Louisiana, 13 pounds of fentanyl, 4 pounds of meth, oxycodone pills, and $34,000 in cash, all sitting in a storage unit. Not ice cream machines, no 18-wheelers, just a storage unit between the distribution network and the neighborhood kids. That's the retail tier, the final step before the poison reaches the front door of any particular neighborhood in Louisiana or any community in America for that matter. Louisiana caught all three levels: import, distribution, and retail inside 30 days. This is a phenomenal bust. And the only reason that it's possible is because the whole supply chain was operating with the kind of confidence that comes from years of low resistance.
These groups are also responsible for most, if not all, of the fentanyl overdoses and other narcotics overdoses that we experience as a community.
That is a federal agent telling you that every fentanyl overdose in Western Louisiana, every parent who got a phone call, every kid who didn't come home traces back to these two organizations. And they have the nerve to call it a public health crisis. This is a cartel occupation.
When we seize this amount of drugs, we're cutting into the cartel's bottom line and stopping the flow of this poison before it reaches our neighbors.
The cartel has a literal bottom line. Acknowledge what that means for scale. Bottom line, they have investors. They have revenue projections, if you would. They have logistics budgets. You're not fighting drug dealers. You're fighting a hostile foreign corporation that has decided American communities are their market, if you would. They've been operating here long enough, especially with the open border policy during the Joey Biden administration. They built 3 distribution tiers across multiple Louisiana cities without getting caught until now. So why did this sweep happen now? Because this line at the press conference was the most important thing said all morning, and the cameras completely missed it.
We're here with our law enforcement partners on the federal side, on the state side.
We were given the leadership and the guidance to be able to follow the facts to wherever they led.
This is not standard press conference language, at least in my opinion. It is a direct political signal, given the leadership and the guidance to follow the facts wherever they led. That is a U.S. attorney telling you in plain English, in the plain language, that prior leadership wasn't giving them that guidance. For years, agents knew this. They watched the pipeline build, and they weren't given the green light to chase it all the way down the chain. That changed under this administration, and 5 Louisiana cities in 1 month is what change looks like in practice, you guys.
It's important that we continue to work forward to get drugs off our street and just send a message to the cartels that, hey, we're not going to tolerate you pumping drugs into our community and ruining our people's lives.
A parish sheriff having to send messages to an international cartel. Note the gap on who was supposed to handle this. The gap between what local law enforcement had to absorb and what federal leadership should have been doing. The gap was funded and maintained for 4 years under the open border policy.
In a Bro Bridge case, 2 Mexican nationals had hundreds of pounds of meth that were discovered in an ice cream machine being towed on the interstate. In Lake Charles, officials say 2 Mexican nationals were found with 15 kilograms of cocaine during a traffic stop.
2 separate cities, both illegal aliens, both cartel connected. The pattern, it's not random. Same profile, different cities, because the CJNG doesn't recruit randomly. They place operatives, and the operatives only get placed where the border lets them through. America, when Trump signed the executive order designating CJNG as a foreign terrorist organization, the left called it theater. Louisiana just showed you why it's the most accurate foreign policy call in the last decade. A terrorist organization doesn't need a flag or a compound. It needs a supply chain, a domestic partnership network, a border that stays open long enough to move personnel. The CJNG had all 3 inside Western Louisiana alone. The ice cream machine, the 18-wheeler, the storage unit, the overdose death. That's what foreign terrorism looks like, wearing civilian clothes and moving product through American interstates. The terrorist designation means assets freeze, military intelligence sharing, and prosecutorial tools that drug trafficking charges alone can't touch. Louisiana gave them the roadmap. The question is whether Washington will follow it all the way to Guadalajara. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.